Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to do a tier list of all the mainline Gundams from animation. So specifically the Gundams, usually piloted by the Star. Maybe I'll throw in some crazy ones in there, I don't know. But let's get started. All right, first up, we've got the Granddaddy here. And I think this would be pretty obvious. I guess as we go, maybe type in what you think works here. Yeah, hopefully you could tell with the size what this is. I'm going to put it at S. I think that's pretty straightforward. Like, what it is, yes, the RX-78-2 nowadays is a simpler design than what we get now. But it's a basis of what we have. And even looking at the RX-78-2, you just get that feeling of just like really good, sleek design for action robots to be a little grounded. All right, here we have the Mark II from Zeta Gundam. It came, right after the original. To me, and I don't know how boring this is going to get for y'all, but I'm going S because it's what's the next step in the next generation of Gundam, when also you're doing this from a creative standpoint with a lot more of a budget and freedom to really get some cool looking designs out there that don't have to look too similar from what came before. So yeah, easy S for me. All right, here we go, the Zeta Gundam. This is a favorite of mine, as they all seem to be. One thing though, here's what I'll do. I like this design a whole lot. I don't think it necessarily fits in with Gundam, I guess, right away by the time you get in the Zeta timeline. Like, this is the first to really be, I guess, so angular and exotic and futuristic looking compared to kind of the goofy, bulbous Zeon or Titan suits. And this actually led to the action figures or the model kits not being able to really do what it's known for, and that's the transforming. And I think that the design of it for the show, not working for the design as a Gunpla or action figure, makes this down to A. Which, yeah, obviously isn't bad, but if I'm going to knock it for something, it's going to be that. All right, next up we have Double Zeta. So Double Zeta, this one actually is interesting because it takes the original Gundam design that's like really awesome. I mean, it's really shown in the face here of the Double Zeta. A change from the Zeta Gundam where it went angular and different. And then I guess throughout the evolution of the future Gundams, we get the Zeta look or the original Granddaddy look. But you know what? Because it's got the kind of a future UC, a more enhanced, all-out UC look when it comes to the Gundam and military weapons. It has Zeta look to it. It has the original Gundam look to it. And it has the core fighters, or the core fighter, I guess the core block system. And in Gunpla form, it works. And because of that, I am going to give this an S because it just does everything it's supposed to. It looks like what I would expect the evolution of a Gundam to be by that point in the timeline. All right, next up we have the new Gundam. This is a fan favorite. Char's Counterattack is a fan favorite. I've always seen it talked about like that. But for me, it's not necessarily. I think it's a fun movie to watch real quick, cool action with Char and Amuro. But, there's just things about the design, which is, really weird to say. Like, I mean, overall, this is a neat design, but it's just, there's things about it that make it to where it leans more into that kind of superhero, super robot style and less of the militarized Gundam just being beefed up over time. So, for that, with this, I'm going to give it a B. That's right. New Gundam is getting a B, and I think that's okay. It's still good. I mean, B-rated stuff is still good on its own. Okay, next up from War in the Pocket, we have the Alex. Looks awesome, awesome evolution of the Gundam, especially during that time period when they're like, okay, the Gundam system works. Let's like try to pump out Gundams with all different techniques. Let's start integrating kind of some sort of new type technology, some like proto new type technology. And I think that's what gives the Alex an A for Alex. I think it's really awesome, but it's no Mark II. All right, next, GP01. This is a cool design, really making that classic Gundam design modern, looking like a military weapon, as opposed to the new Gundam we were talking about. Whereas you can see something like this in Top Gun, but I wouldn't see the new Gundam in something like Top Gun. Actually, you wouldn't see robots in Top Gun. I think this is getting an S. There is nothing about the GP01 that is bad. All right, so the GPO2 is an awesome design because it kind of takes the Gundam in a different direction, kind of like classes in an RPG. You have this more tanky, thrustery, tactical Gundam that has a nuke. That makes it awesome. I mean, it's no Mark II, but you know, it's an A for me. GPO3, awesome suit, obviously. It's cool. It really is, but nothing really stands out about it. In fact, sometimes those side skirts that are reminiscent of G-Savior don't really look like they fit, but then there's some other units in that time period that have it. I'm just going to give it a B. I mean, it's really cool, but all right, F91. It's going to be an interesting one here. I really like this design. It's not like the stuff I love out of UC. We have the Zeta side of UC that's, you know, really jagged, futuristic, edgy. And then we have this future UC with the look that we have here of the F91, and I really like it because I feel like it's an evolution of how mobile suits were designed up until that point anyway. And, you know, it kind of goes more with the wider shoulders that then we see a lot in Seed and G-Savior. I really like this one, and it's different, and that's what I like about it, but it's still going to be a B. It's more of that B side of things. All right, the Victory Gundam. So I like this a lot. In fact, I think it almost, you know, especially around the chest area, invokes more of that fighter pilot style look, especially the transformation of it is pretty cool. Again, it does it in parts. And, you know, I was thinking about it. Like, this is almost something I would consider S, but I really think it's going to be A because as much as I like it, I feel like just in general, it's just been underused in a sense compared to these other mobile suits, just in terms of seeing it in different things and video games. Yet I really like it. And here's the V2. And I would say it's the same sort of thing. Like, this is really cool. It's just so underutilized that I feel like I forget about it. And then I kind of don't care about it as much, but I really do like it. I just don't have as much emotional ties to it as I do, you know, some of these other suits we see here because they showed up in so many episodes of things outside of, or shows, video games, series outside of the main show it's from. And I'd say I do like the Victories better than the F91 because the F91 kind of goes a little more far out there of the Gundam look while the Victory kind of retains that classic Gundam look. All right, classic ground type Gundam. This one is sick. This one's awesome. I think I'm going to just go ahead and give this an S because what it does is it takes that Gundam look and it's able to just make it really look like a weapon of war that could be used in something a little more practical. I know robots aren't super practical in war, but considering super robots in space, when you see these on the ground, it just evokes that wartime feeling. Not that that's a good thing. Yeah. The Easy 8, I really like the look of it. You know, it's almost perfect. I think I'm just going to knock it down a peg to A because, I mean, it doesn't like completely look like a Gundam, but it's just a cool looking mobile suit. And that's like the mid-season upgrade alongside the ground Gundam. All right, Unicorn Gundam. I'm going to give it an S, and here's why. It got me into Gundam, and not the show, but when I was looking at I wanted to build a model kit of a mech. That's all I know I wanted, and I saw this in the store, and what I thought was amazing was it had all these panels that would open and close, and the proportions of it are really well thought out. You know, I like the idea of it being a unicorn and having a unicorn, but then the fact that it becomes a Gundam by opening up, like there's a lot there that just makes this like just a well thought out and awesome idea. And plus in its mode like this, it just looks like a cool robot. It's not like fancy or magical like it seems to get, you know, when it gets into its awakened mode. Yeah, for that, this is S tier. All right, and then we got the narrative. Now, it does have iterations, but I'll just consider it 1. And it's a cool-looking suit. I feel like this is, you know, it's supposed to be based on the new Gundam, but I would say this is a better-looking new Gundam than the new Gundam. I would actually give it an A, because I think it looks good. It retains a grounded look. All right, we've got the Penelope here. So I think this is really sick, and it's got the Odysseus Gundam inside. So really, it looks a bit different than what we see here. But what I like here is, when I saw this design, I was like, this is amazing. And someone in the Discord shared the artist. Zio Reimer is a previous work of theirs. And when you look at the mech designs there, it really evokes what we're seeing here. And so I was amazed by how the artists were able to interpret that stylized look from Zio Reimer in more of the way where there's these unnecessary protrusions, fins, whatever, and incorporate it into the Gundam look, but be part of the fixed flight system, so it just makes it seem practical within the Gundam world, especially in Universal Century at this time when Anaheim Electronics is really able to go all out with their designs. But I'm actually going to give this a B. I really like the design a lot, but this to me is a B style thing. A lot of times when I think of B, I'm thinking of things that are schlocky, you know, more over the top, maybe in some areas or not, but that they're still awesome. Because don't they call Bruce Campbell a B movie actor? Evil Dead 2 a B movie? That's some of my favorite stuff. All right, same thing here with the Kasai or C Gundam, depending on what region you prefer the pronunciation. This one looks cool. Again, it's different as in, while it has a fixed flight unit, it's more of a unique, interesting Gundam design within that. The Odysseus itself, that's part of the Penelope, has a really Gundam look. This does it as well, but it has more of the, I don't want to say, like, I don't know, insect-like or the more Zeonic-like look to it, which I think makes it unique, but also puts it in the B tier, because it is kind of a crazy suit, but B is still good. All right, here we go. G-Savior. Wait, it was in a live-action movie? Well, technically, it was animated with CGI, right? So I'm going to include it. Okay, so what's interesting about this is how much it shares with, I would say, like the GPO-3 and the F-91. So it's interesting that it retains a lot of what came before in terms of mobile suit design, but I also think it doesn't go too far, actually, to make it seem far out. So this is future UC, but it's still retaining things that we see from SNRI, like with the F-91. And I just find it interesting. It could be by that time in the future, they've been able to figure out what's the best of Anaheim Electronics and SNRI by that time, way far in the future. I'm going to go with A tier, as much as I gush about G-Savior, just because I think it's that underdog. It does a lot of things right, wrapped in a low budget. It's not S because it's not super classic of what I like about Gundam, but it's not B because I think it's still a very practical, far future design of a Gundam. Oh, here we go. Another random one from an animation, actually, the Twilight Axis OVA. This is the Tristan Gundam. I think it looks cool. I would love to get a Gunpla of this, but this is actually going to go into B. And let's look at it real quick again. Just the fact that, look, it looks cool. It looks like a Gundam. It looks like a mashup between everything we've kind of got before. But it is not offensive, but it doesn't stand out, you know? So I would put it at B. It's just like a cool looking design that was probably maybe designed decades previously, and they just decided to use it for something in the future. I'm not saying that's true. Hey, Future Adam here, and yeah, I would really give that a C. All right, and soon to be coming out in animation form is the Gundam EX. And I've talked about how much I like this. In fact, I tend to say I like every suit. But there's just so much going on here that I'm amazed they thought of that really makes me want to rate this super high. It has a classic Gundam look. That's number one. That's up at the S tier for me. But what it also does is it modernizes it. Again, makes it a lot more grounded, like a real military weapon, like we see with the Mark II, with the GPO-1, with the ground Gundam. So that gives it to me right there. But also some of the gimmicks. I really like the shield. The shield is very different. It looks like it has function to it, so that's more that this thing can do. And it's got that like triple beam saber rack as well. Again, some asymmetry, especially with weapons, seeing what it can do. And it looks menacing on the battlefield. Look, I know this is a new one. We haven't even seen the show Requiem for Vengeance yet, but this design is just exactly what I want out of a modern, like, mobile suit Gundam story or show. Yeah. So quick look at that. What do you think? Let me know below. For supporters, I will have this PSD available up on the Patreon or YouTube member comments link thing, how that works. Because I'd like you guys to share this around. Make your own, share it around. Feel free to burn me all you want in the comments about the new Gundam. I know that's everyone's favorite, and I know I made some people upset. Anyway, all, thanks for watching. Hope you found that to be a lot of fun. Thanks to all the supporters that make this possible. Check the links in the description if that's something you're interested in, or just come by, join our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. But I think that's about it. Until next time, be cool.